There is a specific reason you have found yourself here at this exact moment. It is not a coincidence, and it is certainly not an accident of the algorithm. You have been feeling something lately, a sensation that is difficult to put into words. It feels like a pressure in the atmosphere around you, or perhaps a quiet restlessness in your spirit. You may have felt as though the ground beneath you is shifting, not in a way that causes fear, but in a way that signals that the life you have known is beginning to dissolve to make room for something new. This message has found you because your spirit is already aware of what your mind has not yet fully processed. You are standing on the threshold of a massive transition. Pause for a moment and consider who else in your life needs to hear this. Share this message with them. As you extend this blessing to another soul, you are planting a seed that God will multiply back to you as favor in your own life. For the last few weeks, or perhaps even months, you have sensed that something is forming around your path that does not wait for your permission. It is happening in the invisible realm, in the quiet spaces between your thoughts and your prayers. People, circumstances, and outcomes are aligning based on truths that have already been spoken in the unseen. You may feel as though things are moving without explanation, as if the control you once held so tightly has loosened slightly from your hands. That sensation exists because a divine transition has begun. Heaven does not interrupt your growth once it reaches this critical stage. Instead, it invites you to trust the current. What you choose to do in these next few moments determines whether you move with this divine current or struggle against it. Walking away from this message does not stop the movement of God in your life. It only removes your awareness of where He is leading you. But by staying present, by quieting your mind and opening your heart, you are choosing to align yourself with a plan that is far greater than your own. This is not just a video. This is a moment of spiritual synchronization. God is guiding you. He is offering you a glimpse into the map of your future so that you do not walk into this new season blindfolded. This is your invitation to stay positioned. Subscribe to this channel right now as an act of spiritual alignment. Do not let this connection fade. Secure your place in this stream of wisdom for the journey ahead. Breathe deeply. Let go of the tension in your shoulders and listen closely. You are safe here. You may have noticed that life feels different recently. It is not necessarily that things have gone wrong, but rather that the rhythm has changed. The strategies that used to work for you are no longer producing the same results. The relationships that once felt effortless now require work, or perhaps they feel distant. This is because the season has changed without an announcement. When winter turns to spring, the air changes before the flowers bloom. You are currently in that space where the air has changed, but the visible evidence of the new season has not yet fully arrived. This is a delicate time. It is a time when your intuition is louder than your logic. God is shifting the atmosphere around you to prepare you for what is coming next. This feeling that control is slipping away is actually a form of protection. When we hold on too tightly to the steering wheel of our lives, we often drive ourselves toward exhaustion or dead ends. God is gently loosening your grip, not to cause you to crash, but to take over the navigation. He is steering you away from rocks you cannot see, and toward a harbor you have prayed for, but do not yet know how to find. The unease you feel is simply the sensation of being redirected. It is the friction of your will rubbing against the divine will as they begin to merge into one path. It is important to understand that this shift is not random. Nothing that is happening to you right now is without purpose. The sleepless nights, the sudden desire for solitude, the feeling that you no longer fit in places where you once felt comfortable, these are all symptoms of spiritual elevation. You are outgrowing your old container. You are like a seed that has cracked open underground. You are pushing against the soil, seeking the light. It feels dark and tight right now, not because you are buried, but because you are planted. There is a massive difference between the two, even if they feel the same in the moment. If you believe you are being planted for a greater harvest, click the like button right now. Let this simple action be an act of faith that signals to the spirit realm you are ready to accelerate your growth. Heaven acts based on timing, not on our emotional comfort. There are truths that have been spoken over your life, promises you may have forgotten, or prayers you whispered years ago that are now demanding manifestation. If you sense that your season is shifting and you are ready to receive the promises that have been waiting for you, type Amen in the comments below. Let this be your signal to the unseen realm that you are open, aligned, and ready for manifestation. The unseen realm is busy on your behalf. While you sleep, God is working. While you worry, angels are being dispatched. The circumstances that seem confusing to you are actually the rearranging of furniture in the room of your life. God is clearing out the clutter to make space for the new furniture He is bringing in. If He brought the blessing now, there would be no room for it. So, He creates space. Sometimes that space looks like loss. Sometimes it looks like silence. But it is always, always preparation. This is why your heart sensed the seriousness of this time before your thoughts could even form the words. Your spirit knows what is coming. Your soul is picking up on the frequency of heaven. Do not ignore this feeling. Do not brush it off as anxiety or stress. No, lean into it. Ask God, what are you showing me? What are you preparing me for? When you stop fighting this shift and start asking for the wisdom to understand it, the fear evaporates. You realize that you are not losing control. You are being upgraded. You are moving from a place of striving to a place of abiding. You are moving from chasing blessings to attracting them through alignment. There is a profound spiritual principle that many people overlook, and it is the principle of divine observation. Before God releases a new level of favor, influence, or blessing into your life, He observes how you manage your current level. He has been watching you. This is not a judgment filled with anger or criticism. It is the loving gaze of a father checking to see if his child is ready for the keys to the car. God has been observing how you handle uncertainty. He has been watching how you react when the answers you desperately want are delayed. He has been listening to how you speak when clarity has not yet arrived. These patterns matter more than you realize. They are the interview for your promotion. When you thought you were just having a bad day, you were actually being tested on your patience. When you thought you were being ignored by God, you were actually being tested on your faith. How you behave in the waiting room determines how long you stay there. God is not looking for perfection. He knows you are human. He knows you get tired and frustrated. But He is looking for a heart that returns to trust even after a moment of doubt. He is looking for a spirit that says, I don't understand this, God, but I trust you anyway. If you are willing to trust God's timing even when you cannot see the full picture yet, declare your faith right now. Write, I trust you, God, in the comments. Let these words stand as a testimony that your faith is stronger than your fear. Think back to the last few months. Have there been moments where you chose to remain silent instead of complaining? Have there been times when you chose to be kind even when you were treated poorly? Have you continued to pray even when the heavens seemed like brass? Nothing has been forgotten. Nothing has been overlooked. Every single act of obedience, every tear you wiped away in secret, every time you chose hope over despair, it was all recorded. These quiet victories have shaped what is approaching you now. The urgency surrounding this message exists because the period of testing is coming to a close, and the period of reward is beginning to dawn. God is guiding you toward a position where peace becomes your baseline, not just a fleeting emotion. But to get you there, He had to see if you could maintain your peace in the storm. Anyone can be peaceful when the sun is shining and the bills are paid. But can you hold on to your peace when the storm clouds gather? That is true spiritual maturity. And that is what God has been cultivating in you. He has been strengthening your spiritual immune system so that when the bigger blessings come and the bigger responsibilities that come with them, you will not be crushed by the weight of them. This creates a shift in how you view your life. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstances and start seeing yourself as a student in God's classroom. The difficult boss, the unexpected bill, the delay in your plans, they are not punishments. They are pop quizzes. God is watching to see if you have learned the lesson of the previous season. If you react with the same old anger, fear, or panic, you may have to circle the mountain again. But if you respond with a new calmness, a new perspective, you pass the test. You break the cycle, and when you break the cycle, you break the chains that have held you back. The fact that this message has reached you today means that readiness has already been acknowledged in the courts of heaven. You are closer than you think. You may have wondered why certain prayers seemed unanswered, why progress slowed down just before the breakthrough. You may have asked, God, did you forget me? Let me assure you, the silence was not rejection. The silence was the exam. The teacher is always silent during the test. God was watching to see if you would remain steady without the immediate reward. He wanted to know if you loved the giver more than the gifts. That steadiness you showed, even when it was imperfect, is now being honored. Because you held on when you wanted to let go. God is releasing a level of stability into your life that you have never known before. He is watching not to trap you, but to guide you. He wants to ensure that when He pours out the blessing, your character is strong enough to hold it. A cup with cracks cannot hold water, no matter how much you pour into it. The trials of the past season were God's way of sealing the cracks in your character. Now, the vessel is ready. The pouring is about to begin. As you continue to read this, pay attention to the state of your heart. Do you feel a sense of validation? Do you feel a gentle release of the anxiety you have been carrying? That is the Holy Spirit confirming the truth of these words. God is speaking to you directly. He is saying, I saw you. I saw you when you thought you were alone. I saw you keep going when you had nothing left. And I am proud of you. This phase of observation is transitioning into a phase of demonstration. God is preparing to demonstrate His power in your life, not just for you, but as a testimony to those around you. But remember, with new levels come new devils, as the saying goes. Or more accurately, with new levels come new requirements for discernment. The enemy knows that you are on the verge of a breakthrough, and he will try to distract you. He will try to bait you into your old reactions. He will send people to irritate you, situations to frustrate you, all in an attempt to get you to lower your frequency. Do not take the bait. Stay high. Stay in the place of observation yourself. Watch your life like a movie. When a challenge arises, step back and say, I see what this is. This is a distraction. I will not engage. God is watching who chooses awareness before movement. Those individuals who can pause, pray, and perceive before they act are the ones who walk through change with far less resistance. You are becoming one of those individuals. You are developing a spiritual superpower called the pause. In that pause, you find God. In that pause, you find wisdom. And in that pause, you secure your victory before you even fight the battle. The urgency you feel is not danger approaching. It is the correction completing its work. Imagine a bone that was broken being set back into place. It is uncomfortable, perhaps even painful for a moment, but it is necessary for healing. Your life is being set back into alignment with God's original design for you. The things that are falling away, the habits, the people, the desires, are things that were causing a limp in your spiritual walk. God is removing them so you can run the race set before you. We often fear the closing of a door. We stand before it, rattling the handle, weeping, asking God why He would allow this opportunity to slip away. We take it personally. We think we weren't good enough, or smart enough, or faithful enough. But you must understand that in the kingdom of God, rejection is often simply redirection. God sees the other side of the door. He sees who is in that room, and He sees what that room would do to your spirit if you were to enter it. You may notice certain doors closing right now without any logical explanation. projects falling through, communication cutting off, plans suddenly unraveling. This is not loss. I repeat, this is not loss. This is divine editing. Heaven is removing the distractions before releasing the clarity. If your hands are full of good things, you cannot catch the God things. Sometimes God has to forcibly remove the good to make room for the best. Think of a gardener pruning a rose bush. To the untrained eye, it looks like destruction. The gardener is cutting off branches, leaving the plant looking smaller and bare. But the gardener knows that those branches were sucking the life out of the plant without producing any fruit. By cutting them away, the energy of the plant is redirected to the healthy branches, producing blooms that are bigger and more beautiful than before. You are being pruned. It feels tender. It feels vulnerable. But you are about to bloom in a way that will surprise even you. This process of pruning explains why your life has felt like it was tightening rather than expanding lately. You may have felt restricted, as if your options were dwindling down to a single narrow path. In a world that celebrates limitless options, this restriction can feel terrifying. It can feel like you are being backed into a corner. But in the spiritual realm, narrow paths create focus, while wide roads create distractions. Heaven often reduces your options before revealing your true direction, because God knows that if you had 10 doors open, you would spend years trying to peek behind the wrong 9. By closing them, He is saving you time. He is saving you from heartache. He is funneling you toward the one door that holds your destiny. God has been watching how you respond when your freedom feels limited. Do you panic? Do you try to kick down the doors He has locked? Or do you trust that the locksmith knows what he is doing? True alignment is often revealed under pressure. When you are squeezed, what comes out of you? Is it fear or is it faith? The tightening you feel is not a trap. It is a birthing canal. You are being pushed through a tight space because you are about to be born into a new reality. The pressure is proof of the progress. There are conversations happening in rooms you have not entered yet. There are decisions being made about your future that you have not yet been informed about. Truths are preparing to surface that will change everything for you. Some of these revelations will surprise you because they come from sources you did not expect. Others will simply confirm what your intuition has been whispering to you for months. Nothing that emerges is meant to harm you, even if it feels jarring at first. But some of these revelations will require maturity to receive without reacting emotionally. This is why the timing feels so serious right now. Heaven does not rush souls who are unprepared. If God gave you the answer before you had the maturity to process it, you might reject the very thing you prayed for. You might mishandle the blessing because it doesn't look like what you imagined. That maturity has been forming quietly inside you during this time of restriction. This is why you are still here, reading this. You are readying your heart to accept what is coming, what to embrace and what to release when the moment arrives. Consider the protection woven into this tightening. Certain paths are being blocked not to frustrate you, but to prevent damage that would have followed unchecked desire. Heaven sees further than your emotions can. You see the shiny object. God sees the hook hidden inside it. You see the short-term pleasure. God sees the long-term consequence. God watches outcomes, not impulses. Press the like button if you trust God's vision over your own. By doing so, you are actively declaring that you surrender your timeline to His divine acceleration. The urgency you feel to make something happen is often your ego trying to regain control. But the urgency of the Spirit is different. It is a call to be ready, not a call to be frantic. You may have wondered why certain prayers seem to bounce off the ceiling. Why did your progress slow down just moments before the breakthrough? Why did a heavy silence follow your greatest efforts? It is easy to interpret these pauses as rejection. It is easy to think, I worked hard, I prayed, I did everything right, and yet nothing is moving. But these pauses were not rejection. They were alignment. Think of an archer. Before the arrow can fly forward with power and precision, it must be pulled backward. There is a moment of high tension where the arrow is not moving at all. It is held still, against the resistance of the string. To the arrow, it feels like a setback. It feels like it is being pulled away from the target. But that backward pull is the only way to generate the momentum needed to reach the destination. You are in the pullback phase. The tension you feel, the waiting, the silence, the delay, is actually the accumulation of potential energy. God is aiming you. God was watching whether you would remain steady without the immediate reward. It is easy to trust God when the blessings are falling like rain. It is much harder to trust Him during the drought. But that steadiness you showed in the drought is now being honored. What unfolds next will feel different from past cycles. In the past, you may have had to chase, force, or manipulate things to make them work. You had to grind until you were exhausted. The coming season will not require chasing. It will not require forcing. It will require flow. This new season will ask for discernment, restraint, and trust. Leaving this moment of preparation behind would place you out of rhythm with what is already moving towards you. Imagine a train arriving at a station. If you start running down the tracks before the train arrives, you will miss it. You have to wait on the platform. You have to stand still so you can board when the doors open. This silence you are experiencing is the train approaching. It is not empty silence. It is pregnant silence. It is full of life that is about to be birthed. The silence is also where your identity is solidified. When the applause stops and the validation fades, who are you? God stripped away the external noise so you could hear your own heartbeat again. And more importantly, hear His heartbeat. He wanted you to know that you are valuable, not because of what you do or what you produce, but simply because you are His. This lesson is crucial because the next level of your life will bring more responsibility and more eyes upon you. If your identity is not rooted in God's love during the silence, you will be crushed by people's opinions during the success. So, do not despise the pause. Do not curse the delay. What is being delayed is not the blessing, but the confusion that would have come if the blessing arrived too soon. What is approaching is not chaos, but clarity that cannot be postponed again. If you receive this word and believe that your clarity is on its way, type Amen below. By typing this, you are partnering with peace instead of panic and welcoming the divine order God is establishing in your life. Listen closely now because this stretch of time is delicate. And delicacy does not mean weakness, it means precision. God is attentive to subtle movements. He notices the quiet decisions you make when no one applauds you. He sees the inner discipline you show when impatience tempts you to rush ahead. What is unfolding around you is exact, measured, and intentional. Nothing here is accidental. Even this moment of reading has placed you slightly ahead of where you would have been otherwise. You are gaining a spiritual advantage by accepting the pause. You are syncing your watch with God's time zone. And that difference will matter more than you can see right now. Pay attention to your internal state as you read this. Do you notice how a strange sense of calm is beginning to replace the restlessness you felt earlier? That shift is intentional. It is not just the soothing nature of these words. It is a spiritual recalibration. Truth brings steadiness before it brings action. You are being prepared to respond wisely rather than react emotionally. When events begin unfolding in the near future, others around you may panic. They may rush, speak without clarity, or act out of fear. But you will not. This message is grounding you ahead of time. It is installing an anchor in your soul. If you need this anchor in your daily life, subscribe now. It is an act of obedience to your own peace, ensuring you remain connected to the truth that steady you when the world shakes. God watches who chooses awareness before movement, and those individuals walk through change with far less resistance. You are being given the gift of a cool head and a steady heart. Soon, something will ask for your response. It might be a choice between two jobs, a conversation with a partner, or an opportunity that feels heavier than it appears on the surface. Your reaction will matter. If you react from a place of scarcity or fear, you might grab the wrong thing. But if you respond from this place of calm alignment, you will choose the path of peace. Staying with this message strengthens your ability to respond without fear. Heaven does not ask for perfection from you. It asks for presence. And right now, presence is your greatest protection. Remain still for a little longer. More understanding is unfolding. You may have noticed that your tolerance for drama and confusion has decreased significantly. Situations that once felt acceptable to you, chaotic relationships, gossip, disorganized environments, may start feeling physically uncomfortable. You might find yourself walking away from conversations that feel heavy or negative. This is not you becoming arrogant or antisocial. This is discernment refining itself. Growth sharpens perception. What once felt normal to you may no longer feel right because you are no longer vibrating at that level. That discomfort you feel when you are in low vibration situations is guidance, not loss. It is your spirit alerting you that you no longer belong in those rooms. Heaven allows dissatisfaction only when it is time to move towards something better. God is watching how you respond when comfort fades and clarity begins asking for cooperation. Will you go back to the toxic environment just because it is familiar? Or will you endure the solitude for a moment to reach the sanctuary? There will be moments ahead when the easy option presents itself first. Convenience often arrives before truth. The enemy likes to offer a counterfeit blessing just before the real blessing arrives, hoping you will settle for the good enough so you miss the best. Choosing wisely will require you to pause rather than rush. That pause will protect you. Awareness gives you the ability to see beneath surface appearances. Not every open door leads forward. Some exist to test your restraint. Remaining grounded will help you recognize which steps create peace rather than just temporary relief. Pay attention to subtle confirmations rather than loud promises. Alignment often speaks quietly. You may feel a gentle sense of rightness rather than a rush of adrenaline. That calm feeling is more reliable than intensity. Intensity often burns out. Steady peace burns long. Heaven guides through calm certainty, not through pressure. God watches who can trust that calm even when the world tries to pull their attention elsewhere with flashy distractions. As this preparation completes its work, you may experience brief moments of uncertainty. Do not resist them. Uncertainty often appears just before clarity locks into place, like the moment before a camera lens snaps into focus. Allow the questions to exist without demanding immediate answers. Patience creates space for understanding to mature fully. Rushing the resolution can distort the direction. Remaining receptive allows insight to arrive whole rather than fragmented. The coming phase will require balance. Action will be necessary, yes, but timing will be everything. Speaking too soon may weaken your impact. Waiting too long may close opportunities. How will you know the difference? Discernment. Discernment will guide you when logic feels incomplete. Trust that internal steadiness that has been forming quietly inside of you. It is stronger than you realize. You have been building spiritual muscle memory. When the moment comes to leap, you won't have to overthink it. You will just know. Nothing about this process is accidental. Every pause, every shift, every moment of reflection has served a purpose. Heaven does not waste experiences. God transforms what seemed confusing into preparation once understanding arrives. You are approaching that understanding now. Staying attentive ensures you receive it clearly. When the movement begins, and it will begin soon, you will not feel rushed. You will feel ready. That readiness is the result of presence, patience, and awareness cultivated right here in this quiet moment. Let this moment continue shaping you quietly. Remain settled within this awareness, because what is being shaped now is subtle strength rather than visible motion. Strength that lasts is formed in quiet alignment, not sudden force. The oak tree grows silently for years before it can withstand the hurricane. You are growing your roots deep right now. Heaven has been attentive to how you carry responsibility inwardly. God has seen how you process insight without needing immediate confirmation from others. You have stopped asking everyone else for their opinion on your life and started asking God for His truth. That is a massive shift. God recognizes the discipline it takes to stay present when nothing outward is yet demanding your response. That discipline is preparing you for a moment when clarity will require calm action rather than emotional reaction. Soon you may sense a deeper certainty guiding you, one that does not rely on reassurance from others. This certainty will not shout. It will steady you. It will feel like knowing without urgency, direction without pressure. That inner guidance has been developing slowly, protected from interference until you were ready to trust it. Heaven often shields emerging clarity until your confidence can support it. God is watching how you begin leaning into that inner knowing instead of the external noise. There may be moments ahead when choices appear similar on the surface, yet feel completely different within. Logic alone will not be enough to distinguish them. One job offer might pay more, but feel heavy in your spirit. Another might pay less, but feel light and expansive. One relationship might look perfect on paper, but drain your energy. Another might look unconventional, but bring you peace. Paying attention to that difference, the heaviness versus the lightness, will protect your peace. This sensitivity is not weakness. It is refinement. It is the Holy Spirit acting as your internal compass. As this spiritual alignment deepens within you, you may find yourself becoming less interested in explaining your journey to others. In the past, when you had a new idea or a new goal, your first instinct was to run and tell your friends, your family, or post it on social media. You wanted validation. You wanted someone to say, "That's a great idea, you can do it." But recently, that desire has faded. You might even feel a sudden protective urge to keep your plans to yourself. Silence is beginning to feel more comfortable than justification. Do not mistake this for withdrawal or isolation. This is not you pushing people away out of anger. This is grounding. This is the wisdom of the farmer who knows that if he digs up the seed every day to show people it is growing, he will kill the harvest. Growth often brings a desire for privacy, not secrecy. There is a difference. Secrecy is hiding something you are ashamed of. Privacy is protecting something that is precious. You are entering a season of privacy because what God is birthing in you is too valuable to be exposed to the opinions of people who do not understand the vision. Some things strengthen best when they are not exposed too early. Heaven understands timing. God watches how you protect what is forming before it is ready to be shared. Think of a photograph developing in a dark room. It needs the darkness to become clear. If you turn on the bright lights too soon, the image is ruined. Your dream, your healing, your next level, it is currently in the dark room. God is developing the picture. He is adding the details, and He is asking you to guard the door and keep the lights off until the work is finished. You may notice that when you do try to explain your current transition to others, they look at you with blank stares. They might offer advice that doesn't fit, or they might try to talk you out of it out of fear. Do not be angry with them. They cannot see what you see because God did not give them the vision. He gave it to you. Trying to convince them is a waste of your energy that you need for the transformation. Expect moments when your patience is tested gently regarding this silence. You may feel a burning desire to defend yourself against a misunderstanding, or to prove someone wrong who doubted you. But a quiet voice inside will say, "Let it go." These moments are not obstacles. They are opportunities to practice steadiness. How you handle these minor pauses reveals how you will handle major transitions. If you can't hold your tongue when someone misunderstands you now, how will you hold your character when thousands are watching you later? Remaining calm now reinforces confidence later. Heaven uses simple moments to prepare souls for significant change. You are moving into a phase where clarity will replace questioning, but that clarity will ask for responsibility. Knowing brings accountability, When you know who you are, you no longer need to argue about it. The lion does not need to roar every 5 minutes to prove he is a lion. He knows, and because he knows, he can rest. You are finding your rest. This is why preparation matters so much. God does not reveal direction without also strengthening the ability to walk it wisely. What you are receiving now is balance, not burden. Continue allowing awareness to settle deeply rather than skimming across the surface. Let insight become integrated rather than intellectual. What is unfolding will soon require presence more than analysis. Staying grounded now ensures you meet that moment with confidence rather than hesitation. Remain open, attentive, and steady. The foundation being set here will support everything that follows. There are stages in life where inner order must settle completely before outward change can arrive without chaos. This is one of those moments. Heaven is not withholding progress from you. It is ensuring that when movement begins, it does not fracture what has been built. Imagine building a skyscraper. You must dig deep and pour a massive concrete foundation before you can build upward. If you rush the foundation, the building will collapse under its own weight. God is pouring your concrete right now. If you want God to build something permanent in your life, click like on this video. Let it be a sign that you accept the foundation work He is doing, speeding up the breakthrough that follows. God is attentive to how you hold composure when outcomes are not yet visible, because that composure becomes the container for what follows. You may begin noticing that your reactions feel slower, more deliberate, and less driven by urgency. A year ago, a flat tire or a rude comment might have ruined your whole week. Now, it barely registers. This is not a loss of passion, it is a refinement of control. Strength that lasts is rarely impulsive. Awareness is teaching you how to pause between stimulus and response. And that pause is where wisdom lives. Heaven observes how you use that space. God values decisions made from clarity far more than actions taken to escape discomfort. There will be moments ahead when familiarity tries to pull you backward. Old patterns, old expectations, and old comforts may resurface briefly. You might get a text from an ex-partner, or an offer to return to a job you hated, or a sudden temptation to engage in a habit you thought you had broken. Their appearance does not mean you have failed. It does not mean you are going backward. It means the transition is real. When growth occurs, the past often checks whether it can still claim space in your life. It knocks on the door one last time to see if you will answer. Your task will be recognition, not resistance. You don't need to fight the past. You just need to recognize it for what it is, an expired season. Awareness dissolves attachment without struggle. Remaining present will allow those influences to pass without regaining control. As this alignment strengthens, you may sense a deeper respect for your own boundaries forming. You will become less willing to tolerate imbalance, less inclined to overextend yourself, and less tempted to compromise your peace for approval. In the past, you might have said yes to everyone because you wanted to be liked. Now, you are realizing that every time you say yes to something that isn't for you, you are saying no to yourself. This shift is not selfishness, it is stewardship. You are learning to steward your energy, your time, and your spirit. Heaven entrusts greater clarity only to those who can protect it. God watches how you guard your inner stability, because stability determines sustainability. If you burn out, you cannot fulfill your purpose. So, God is teaching you the holy art of saying no. Soon, timing will matter more than effort. Doing the right thing at the wrong moment can delay progress just as much as doing nothing at all. This is why patience has been emphasized so strongly in this season. Awareness sharpens timing. When action is finally required, you will feel a quiet readiness rather than pressure. That readiness will guide you more reliably than urgency ever could. You will move not because you are afraid of missing out, but because the Spirit has said, now. You may also notice that your intuition feels clearer than before, even if you cannot always explain why. That clarity is not guesswork. It is the result of alignment settling into place. Heaven often communicates through calm certainty rather than detailed instruction. God trusts those who can move forward without needing every detail revealed in advance. He is training you to walk by faith, not by sight. When you trust the internal GPS, even when the road signs are missing, you are demonstrating spiritual maturity. Nothing that is unfolding now is meant to isolate you or confuse you. It is meant to strengthen discernment so that when circumstances shift, you do not lose balance. Change will come, but it will not arrive to destabilize you. It will arrive to position you more accurately within your purpose. Allow this awareness to continue shaping you quietly. Let it inform how you listen, how you choose, how you respond. All what follows will feel less overwhelming because preparation has already done its work. As this internal rearrangement settles, a new feeling begins to emerge. It is subtle at first, like the first light of dawn. It is confidence, but not the kind of confidence you are used to. It is not the loud, chest-thumping confidence that says, "I am the best." It is the quiet, unshakable confidence that says, "I will be okay, no matter what happens." You may sense a subtle confidence emerging, one that does not need constant reassurance. That confidence comes from alignment rather than outcome. It exists even before the results appear. In the world, people are confident because they have the money, or the relationship, or the success. In the kingdom, you are confident before you see it, because your trust is in the one who promised it. Allow it to grow without questioning it. It is not arrogance, it is stability. This stability will become your anchor as circumstances begin reflecting the inner order now taking shape. Nothing unfolding now is meant to overwhelm you. Everything has been scaled to your capacity. Heaven does not assign weight without first strengthening the carrier. God has already accounted for what you can hold, process, and respond to wisely. He knows your breaking point, and He will not push you past it. He will, however, push you to your stretching point. Trust that design. Trust the pacing. Trust the quiet intelligence guiding this phase. Remain aware beyond this moment. Let attentiveness become a habit rather than a reaction. What approaches will feel familiar rather than shocking, because preparation has already begun. Staying present now ensures recognition later. Stay with this awareness a little longer, because what is settling within you now is building a foundation that will soon be tested by movement. There are moments when inner order must arrive before external change can safely follow. This is one of those moments. Heaven has been shaping your perception so that when events begin to shift, you do not misinterpret direction as disruption. God observes whether understanding can remain steady even when circumstances begin rearranging themselves unexpectedly. You may soon notice that your tolerance for confusion has decreased. Situations that once felt acceptable may start feeling misaligned. This is not restlessness. It is discernment refining itself. Growth sharpens perception. What once felt normal may no longer feel right. And that discomfort is guidance, not loss. Heaven allows dissatisfaction only when it is time to move towards something better. God is watching how you respond when comfort fades and clarity begins asking for cooperation. A subtle rearrangement is taking place within your priorities. Things that once felt urgent no longer pull you with the same force. Concerns that once dominated your thoughts, what people think of you, keeping up with trends, the fear of missing out, are slowly loosening their grip. This shift did not happen overnight, and it did not happen by accident. It is the result of inner growth that matured quietly while you were focused on simply surviving. Heaven observes when survival turns into awareness, and awareness turns into readiness. That transition has already begun for you. Soon you may realize that certain choices feel clearer than before. Doubt will not disappear completely, but it will no longer control direction. You will feel an internal confirmation guiding you toward what aligns. Even if logic has not yet caught up, trust that guidance. God often leads through peace rather than pressure. When something is meant for you, it will not require constant anxiety to maintain it. What arrives through alignment stays through stability. There will be moments ahead when silence feels heavier than noise, when waiting feels more demanding than action. Those moments are not punishment. They are refinement. Heaven uses silence to sharpen perception. God watches how you respond when nothing is happening outwardly, because that response determines how you handle movement when it begins. Impatience weakens outcomes. Awareness strengthens them. You are approaching a stage where discernment becomes essential. Not every opportunity will be meant for you, even if it appears appealing. Not every open door leads to peace. Paying attention to inner signals will protect you from paths that look promising but carry unnecessary strain. This sensitivity is developing now quietly, steadily, without force. Remaining present allows it to deepen naturally. It is important to understand that nothing meaningful is being taken from you. What is leaving was never meant to remain long-term. What stays will support growth rather than drain it. Heaven removes imbalance before it releases stability. God observes how you let go without resentment, how you accept change without fear, how you remain grounded while circumstances adjust around you. In the coming days, you may feel moments of clarity followed by brief uncertainty. That rhythm is normal during transition. Do not interpret it as failure. Growth is not linear. What matters is direction, not perfection. Staying connected to awareness will help you move through fluctuations without losing confidence. This message is not meant to rush you into action. It is meant to anchor you before action becomes necessary. When the moment arrives that requires a response, you will recognize it without panic. Calm recognition will guide you. Heaven prepares before it moves. God ensures readiness before release. Hold your attention gently but firmly, because the value of this moment lies in how fully you inhabit it. What is happening now is not about urgency pushing you forward, but awareness steadying you in place. Heaven measures readiness by composure, not by speed. God observes how you carry insight once it arrives. Whether you allow it to settle deeply or rush past it, searching for the next distraction. Remaining present right now strengthens your ability to recognize truth later without confusion. You may notice that your inner dialogue has changed over time. Where there was once noise, there is now space. Where reaction once ruled, reflection has begun to take its place. This evolution did not happen suddenly. It formed through experiences that stretched you, challenged assumptions, and required endurance when answers were delayed. Heaven values that endurance. God sees the maturity that developed quietly while you were simply doing your best to keep going. That maturity is why this phase feels significant. There are paths ahead that will test discernment rather than strength. Power will not be required. Clarity will. You will not need to prove anything or convince anyone. You will only need to recognize what aligns with peace and what subtly erodes it. That recognition comes from inner stillness, not external validation. This message is guiding you into that stillness so decisions can be made from wisdom instead of urgency. My child, my beloved, I ask you to pause for a moment before your thumb moves away to the next distraction. Take a deep breath, center yourself. This message is not appearing on your screen by chance, and it is not meant to pass through your life quietly. You have been sensing a change in the atmosphere, a subtle shift in the winds of your life. Heaven has been observing the smallest choices you have been making lately, the silent decisions no one else noticed, the moments where you hesitated to react in anger, the times you almost turned back but chose to keep walking. God is watching what you do next. He is not watching to judge you or to criticize your efforts. He is watching because what follows this moment carries consequences that can no longer be postponed. If you feel the weight of this moment and you are ready to stop delaying your destiny, make a commitment right now. Type, "I am listening" in the comments. Let this be your spiritual RSVP to the invitation. Heaven is extending to you today. You are standing at a spiritual checkpoint. I, Archangel Michael, come to you in this moment with a spirit of urgency, not to frighten you, but to awaken you. The delay you have been experiencing is not empty time. It was a protective shield. But now, that shield is lifting because you are ready to move. If you walk away from your spiritual alignment now, what has been held back for your protection will move forward without the necessary adjustment. This is why your spirit felt a pull to click on this message before your mind could even explain why. It is a resonance. It is your soul recognizing its marching orders. My child, my beloved, there are seasons when heaven waits patiently, allowing you to learn at your own pace. And then there are moments when waiting ends. You are standing at the edge of one of those moments. You have sensed a pressure without knowing why. You have felt a restlessness without a clear reason. You may have noticed signs repeating in strange ways, numbers aligning, songs playing at exact moments, conversations that seem to answer thoughts you haven't spoken aloud. These were not coincidences. These were markers. They were warnings wrapped in mercy, signaling that the page is turning. God has been watching how you respond when no one is guiding you visibly. He has been observing how you act when clarity is missing, how you choose when fear and faith stand together in the same room. What you do next will reveal your alignment. And alignment determines whether grace flows gently into your life or whether correction arrives to steer you back on course. Listen carefully now, because many miss this part and regret it later. Heaven does not rush people without reason. When the spirit of urgency comes, it is because a window of opportunity is opening, and it will not stay open forever. This message carries urgency because something unresolved in your life is reaching its deadline. You have been given time to learn, time to adjust, time to grow stronger than your past reactions. That time was a gift. What comes next is your response to that gift. God is watching not only your actions, but your willingness to stay present when truth approaches. Walking away from this awareness now does not cancel what is coming. It only removes your ability to meet it prepared. It is like turning off the lights right before you need to walk through a crowded room. The room is still there, but your ability to navigate it safely is gone. Stay with the light. Stay with the awareness. Do not walk away unprepared. Subscribe to the channel as a declaration that you are listening. It is a spiritual discipline to stay close to the voice that guides you. My child, my beloved, I must tell you this plainly so your heart understands before fear tries to speak to you. There is a shift already forming around you. It is not just in your head. Conversations are being prepared in your favor. Decisions are aligning in high places. Events are quietly moving into position like chess pieces on a board you cannot fully see. Some of this will bring immense blessing. Some of it will bring necessary exposure of things that can no longer remain hidden. But all of it, every single part of it, is necessary for your destiny. Heaven can no longer delay what must be revealed. You have prayed for truth. You have prayed for clarity. You have prayed for your purpose. God is honoring those prayers now. This is why this message feels heavy, yet familiar. If you feel the familiarity of this truth, hit the like button as a seal of recognition. It is a prophetic act that says, I see the shift, and I welcome the speed of God's hand. Your spirit remembers what your mind forgot. Your soul knows that you agreed to this transformation before you even arrived in this world. Staying with this message keeps you anchored while the movement happens. Many people assume that urgency means punishment. They feel the pressure of God and think, what did I do wrong? That is a lie from the enemy. That is not always true. Sometimes urgency means opportunity at its final door. It means the train is leaving the station, and God loves you too much to let you miss it. God has been watching your endurance. He saw your restraint. He saw the moments you chose silence instead of reaction. Those choices have weight. They have built a platform for you to stand on. What you do next will decide whether the next phase opens with ease or with resistance. If you stay aligned, clarity will meet you. If you disconnect, confusion will greet you first. This is not a threat. It is a spiritual law unfolding. It is the law of cause and effect. If you plant the seed in good soil and water it, it grows. If you walk away from the garden, weeds take over. You are the gardener of your soul. Do not abandon your post right before the harvest. My child, my beloved, I ask you now to remain with this message and not treat it lightly. Messages like this are not sent often, and they are never repeated in the same way twice. If this is reaching you, it means heaven sees readiness forming beneath your doubts. It means God is watching to see if you will choose awareness over avoidance. It is easy to scroll away. It is easy to numb yourself with entertainment. It is hard to stay present with truth. But you are not called to do what is easy. You are called to do what is necessary. If this message is helping you feel seen, guided, or steady, stay connected to it. Alignment grows through consistency. You cannot go to the gym once and expect to be strong. You cannot pray once and expect to be spiritual. Those who remain attentive are the ones who recognize miracles when they arrive quietly. And your miracle is coming quietly. It will not arrive with fireworks. It will arrive with peace. Let me reveal something you have not fully understood yet. The delay you experienced, the months or years where nothing seemed to happen, was not abandonment. It was protection. Certain outcomes could not touch you until you were strengthened enough to respond without breaking. If God had given you the relationship you wanted 3 years ago, your insecurity would have destroyed it. If He had given you the wealth you asked for, your lack of discipline would have squandered it. Now that strength is present, even if you don't fully feel it yet. God is watching how you handle this moment because it mirrors how you will handle what follows. Heaven cannot delay what has matured beyond waiting. When the fruit is ripe, it must be picked, or it will rot. Your season is ripe. What you do next sets the tone for the harvest. My child, my beloved, breathe and stay here. There is more unfolding. Every word you are receiving is placing order where confusion once lived. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are being observed with intention. And what comes next will make sense only if you remain aligned with this moment instead of turning away from it. Beloved soul, stay attentive now because what unfolds from this point forward carries weight that cannot be softened later. Heaven has already marked this moment, not loudly, not with signs that frighten, but with an inner pull that made you stop scrolling and read further. That pause was not accidental. That was the Holy Spirit tapping you on the shoulder. God is watching how you respond when guidance arrives quietly instead of dramatically. Many only listen when life shouts, when tragedy strikes, or when things fall apart. But wisdom comes when the whisper is still heard. What stands before you now is not a warning without purpose, but direction meant to prevent regret before it forms. Imagine you are driving a car and your GPS gently says, turn left in 500 feet to avoid traffic. You can ignore it and get stuck, or you can listen and flow. God is your GPS. He is seeing the traffic jam of your life miles ahead, and He is routing you around it. There is something forming around your path that does not wait for permission. People, circumstances, and outcomes are aligning based on truths already spoken in the unseen. You may feel as though things are moving without explanation, as if control has loosened slightly from your hands. That sensation exists because transition has begun. Heaven does not interrupt growth once it reaches this stage. What you choose now determines whether you move with the current or struggle against it. Walking away does not stop movement. The river flows whether you swim or not. Walking away only removes your awareness of where it leads. God has been observing how you handle uncertainty, how you react when answers are delayed, how you speak when clarity has not yet arrived. These patterns mattered more than you realized. They shaped what is approaching you now. Nothing has been forgotten. Nothing has been overlooked. The urgency surrounding this message exists because balance is being restored. Where patience was extended, resolution now follows. Where mercy delayed outcomes to give you time to get it right, truth now steps forward to establish the standard. This is why your heart sensed seriousness before your thoughts could form words. You may soon notice that certain people begin behaving differently toward you. This is a critical sign of the shift. Some will distance themselves without explanation. Friends you have had for years may suddenly stop calling. Conversations that used to flow easily may feel awkward and forced. Do not chase them. I repeat, do not chase them. Others may suddenly seek your attention, people you haven't thought about in years, or new people who seem drawn to your light. These shifts are not random mood changes. They are reactions to movement in the unseen. When your vibration changes, your reality rearranges. When alignment changes, relationships adjust automatically. It is physics. If you change the frequency of a radio station, you hear different music. You have changed your frequency. You can no longer hear the old music, and the people who are stuck on that old station can no longer hear you. God is watching how you interpret these changes, whether you cling to what is leaving or recognize what is being removed for your benefit. Attachment to expired seasons creates resistance. It creates pain. Release creates flow. Release creates space. Something important has been forming quietly behind the scenes. It may relate to your purpose, your stability, or a truth that has been hidden longer than it should have been. Heaven has already decided that concealment can no longer continue. What emerges will not be rushed, but it will not be stopped either. This is why awareness now is essential. When truth arrives, those who are prepared receive it with peace. They say, I knew this was coming. Those who are not prepared feel overwhelmed. They say, why is this happening to me? This message is your preparation. This is your heads up. Notice how your mind is calmer than it was earlier. Even though the message carries seriousness, that calm is not coincidence. Truth settles the spirit before it challenges the mind. God is watching whether you can remain grounded while understanding deepens. Emotional balance will be your strength in the days ahead. Reactions driven by fear will not serve you. Responses guided by insight will open doors smoothly. You are not late. You are not behind schedule. You are exactly where you need to be for what comes next. The urgency exists because alignment has reached completion, not because danger is chasing you. Heaven moves decisively once readiness is confirmed. The watching now is not surveillance. It is acknowledgement. God sees that you are capable of handling what once would have overwhelmed you. There may be moments soon when you feel tempted to doubt your progress, especially if external confirmation does not arrive immediately. You might look at your bank account or your relationship status or your career and see no change yet. Do not measure internal shifts by external noise. The root grows before the shoot breaks the soil. Some of the most powerful changes happen silently. What is being rearranged in your life will make sense after it settles, not while it is moving. Trust the process that has already carried you this far. You are being guided into a position where stability replaces survival mode. For too long, you have been in survival mode. Fight or flight, anxiety, stress. Just trying to make it to the end of the week. That is not God's best for you. That is not your permanent address. That transition to stability requires awareness, patience, and presence. Leaving this moment mentally, checking out, distracting yourself, would weaken that transition. Staying engaged strengthens it. God is watching how you remain attentive when guidance comes without spectacle. Those who listen in quiet moments receive clarity before others even realize change has begun. Soon you will understand why this message felt different from the rest. It is not meant to entertain you. It is meant to anchor you. When the next step presents itself, you will recognize it without confusion. because your spirit has already been prepared to receive it calmly. Remain here just a little longer. The foundation is still being set. What follows will arrive with less resistance because of the awareness you are building right now. Stay present as these words move forward, because attention itself is becoming a form of alignment for you. Attention is the currency of the spiritual realm. Where you place your attention, energy flows. By placing your attention here, on your growth, on God's voice, you are directing a massive flow of spiritual energy toward your breakthrough. What is happening now is subtle but decisive. Heaven is not rushing you yet. It is no longer allowing hesitation to rule the moment. God is observing how you remain steady when certainty is still forming, how you choose awareness over escape, how you allow understanding to arrive without forcing conclusions. This stage requires composure, not speed, and you are being measured by calm rather than urgency. You may feel as though something inside you has already shifted, even though nothing outside has fully changed yet. That sensation is real. It is the most honest feeling you have had in years. In the spiritual realm, internal adjustment always arrives before visible movement. It is the signal that preparation has completed its work. Think of it like a musician tuning their instrument before the concert begins. The audience hears nothing but silence or random notes, but the musician knows that the tuning is the most important part of the performance. You have been tuning your instrument. You have been tightening the strings of your patience and loosening the strings of your anxiety. What unfolds next will not ask you to become someone new. It will not require you to put on a mask or pretend to be someone you are not. It will require you to act from the clarity you have already gained. It will ask you to be the person you are when you are alone with God. Heaven watches consistency more than intensity. We often think God is impressed by our big dramatic gestures, the loud prayers, the sudden fasts, the grand promises. But God is actually impressed by your consistency. He is watching the small, steady decisions you make on a Tuesday morning when you are tired. These carry more weight in the spirit than the dramatic gestures you make on a Sunday when you are inspired. Make a steady decision right now. Subscribe to this channel to confirm your consistency. It is a vow to yourself that you are done with sporadic visits and ready for consistent stewardship of your soul. There is a profound difference between waiting and avoiding. For a long time, you may have told yourself you were waiting on God, when in reality, you were avoiding the responsibility of your own life. You were hiding, but you have crossed that line without realizing it. You are no longer standing still out of fear. You are standing still out of obedience. You are no longer running from yourself. You are being positioned. God notices when a soul stops running from understanding and starts walking toward responsibility. That shift has already been registered in the heavens. This is why circumstances will begin responding differently to you. You will notice that the friction you use to feel in your daily life begins to smooth out. Resistance will lessen where you once struggled. Confusion will fade where clarity is needed. These changes will feel natural, not forced. It won't feel like you are pushing a boulder uphill anymore. It will feel like the boulder is finally rolling down the other side. Certain outcomes that once felt uncertain are becoming inevitable. That does not mean they are fixed in a harmful way. It means direction has been chosen. Heaven does not leave important matters unresolved forever. Resolution arrives when growth reaches maturity. You are reaching that point now. You are moving from survival mode to stewardship mode. If you are ready to leave fear and survival mode behind forever, claim your new position of authority. Type Amen in the comments to seal this transition. Let the enemy know that you are no longer a victim of your circumstances, but a steward of God's blessings. In survival mode, you grab whatever you can because you are afraid there won't be enough. You hold on tight. You react. In stewardship mode, you realize that everything belongs to God and you are simply managing it. When you manage what God gives you with peace, He gives you more to manage. This includes your emotions, your time, and your relationships. What you do with insight will matter more than what you do with emotion. Remaining grounded will allow you to navigate what comes without losing peace. As you settle into this new way of being, you may soon recognize opportunities disguised as ordinary moments. This is a test of your awareness. We often expect God's blessings to arrive with a trumpet blast, a winning lottery ticket, or a job offer that falls out of the sky. But God often works through simplicity, not spectacle. Pay attention to what feels quietly significant rather than loudly impressive. A conversation with a stranger in a grocery store might hold the key to your next step. A random book falling off a shelf might contain the answer you have been praying for. A sudden urge to call an old friend might open a door you thought was locked forever. These are not coincidences. These are God-incidences. They are the language of the Holy Spirit. God often hides big miracles inside small packages to see if you are paying attention. Those who stay attentive recognize these moments immediately. They feel a little spark in their spirit, a ping of recognition. Those who rush past them, glued to their phones or lost in their worries, realize their value only in hindsight. They look back years later and say, "I should have taken that coffee meeting," or "I should have listened to that intuition." This message is sharpening your awareness so that recognition comes early. You are being trained to see the diamonds in the rough. It is important to understand that watching does not mean withholding. When we say God is watching you, it doesn't mean He is withholding blessings until you jump through hoops. Heaven observes in order to release wisely. Think of a parent holding a sharp knife. The child wants the knife because it is shiny. The parent withholds the knife not because they are mean, but because they love the child. Once the child is old enough and trained enough to use the knife to cut vegetables for dinner, the parent hands it over. The knife hasn't changed. The child has changed. Click. Like if you believe you have changed and are ready to handle the blessing. Let this be your signal that the waiting period is over and the season of receiving has begun. What has been delayed in your life is now being prepared for safe arrival. Some blessings require maturity before delivery. Some truths require stability before exposure. If you had received the platform you wanted before you had the character to sustain it, the platform would have crushed you. God sees that you are capable of receiving what once would have disrupted your balance. This is why timing matters so deeply. God is not late. He is precise. The waiting period was not empty. It was an incubation period. You were growing the spiritual muscles necessary to carry the weight of glory. And now, the delivery is scheduled. As the days move forward, you may feel a stronger sense of direction even without detailed instructions. This is the final test of trust. We love instructions. We want a 10-step plan. We want to know exactly where the money is coming from, exactly who we will marry, and exactly when it will happen. But faith is not a map. Faith is a compass. A map gives you the route. A compass gives you the direction. God is giving you a compass. You might not know the exact route, but you know you are heading north. Trust that inner steadiness. It is guidance forming beneath thought. You are being led by alignment rather than pressure. That is the difference between forced movement and purposeful progress. Forced movement feels like anxiety. I have to do this or else. Purposeful progress feels like peace. I am doing this because it is right. Staying connected to this awareness will help you move smoothly when action is required. Nothing about this process is meant to isolate you. It is meant to strengthen your discernment. You will know when to speak and when to remain silent. You will sense when to move forward and when to wait. That sensitivity is developing now. Heaven is watching how you honor it. Remain engaged just a bit longer. The clarity settling within you will soon meet circumstances that reflect it outwardly. When that happens, you will understand why staying present here mattered. Remain attentive because what is forming now is not dramatic on the surface, yet it is deeply consequential beneath it. There are moments in life when progress does not announce itself loudly, when transformation occurs quietly while the world appears unchanged. This is one of those moments. Heaven is attentive to how you carry yourself during unseen preparation, how you manage stillness without losing faith, how you treat guidance when it does not come wrapped in excitement. God notices steadiness more than speed. And right now, steadiness is shaping what unfolds next. A subtle rearrangement is taking place within your priorities. Things that once felt urgent no longer pull you with the same force. Concerns that once dominated your thoughts are slowly loosening their grip. You used to worry about what they would say. Now, you only care about what God says. You used to worry about missing out on the party. Now, you realize the real party is the peace in your own home. This shift did not happen overnight, and it did not happen by accident. It is the result of inner growth that matured quietly while you were focused on simply surviving. Heaven observes when survival turns into awareness, and awareness turns into readiness. That transition has already begun for you. Soon you may realize that certain choices feel clearer than before. Doubt will not disappear completely. Doubt is a part of the human experience, but it will no longer control direction. You will feel the fear, and you will do it anyway. You will feel an internal confirmation guiding you toward what aligns. Even if logic has not yet caught up, trust that guidance. God often leads through peace rather than pressure. When something is meant for you, it will not require constant anxiety to maintain it. What arrives through alignment stays through stability. If you have to manipulate a situation to get it, you will have to manipulate it to keep it. But if God brings it to you, God will sustain it for you. There will be moments ahead when silence feels heavier than noise, when waiting feels more demanding than action. Those moments are not punishment. They are refinement. Heaven uses silence to sharpen perception. God watches how you respond when nothing is happening outwardly, because that response determines how you handle movement when it begins. Impatience weakens outcomes. Awareness strengthens them. You are approaching a stage where discernment becomes essential. Not every opportunity will be meant for you, even if it appears appealing. Imagine walking down a hallway with many open doors. Some doors lead to parties. Some lead to cliffs. Some lead to libraries. Some lead to your destiny. Just because a door is open does not mean you should walk through it. The enemy can open doors too. The only way to know which door is yours is by checking your internal peace. Does this door bring me closer to God, or does it pull me away? Does this opportunity bring peace, or does it bring panic? Paying attention to inner signals will protect you from paths that look promising, but carry unnecessary strain. This sensitivity is developing now quietly, steadily, without force. Remaining present allows it to deepen naturally. It is important to understand that nothing meaningful is being taken from you. What is leaving was never meant to remain long-term. We often grieve the loss of things that were actually weighing us down. We cry over the loss of a relationship that was toxic. We cry over the loss of a job that was draining our soul. Heaven removes imbalance before it releases stability. God is stripping you of the weights so you can fly. God observes how you let go without resentment, how you accept change without fear, how you remain grounded while circumstances adjust around you. In the coming days, you may feel moments of clarity followed by brief uncertainty. That rhythm is normal during transition. Do not interpret it as failure. Growth is not linear. It is a spiral. You circle back to the same lessons, but from a higher perspective. What matters is direction, not perfection. Staying connected to awareness will help you move through fluctuations without losing confidence. This message is not meant to rush you into action. It is meant to anchor you before action becomes necessary. When the moment arrives that requires a response, you will recognize it without panic. Calm recognition will guide you. Heaven prepares before it moves. God ensures readiness before release. Hold your attention gently but firmly, because the value of this moment lies in how fully you inhabit it. What is happening now is not about urgency pushing you forward, but awareness steadying you in place. Heaven measures readiness by composure, not by speed. God observes how you carry insight once it arrives, whether you allow it to settle deeply or rush past it, searching for the next distraction. Remaining present right now strengthens your ability to recognize truth later without confusion. You may notice that your inner dialogue has changed over time. Where there was once noise, self-criticism, replay of old arguments, worry about the future, there is now space. There is a little more quiet. Where reaction once ruled, reflection has begun to take its place. This evolution did not happen suddenly. It formed through experiences that stretched you, challenged assumptions, and required endurance when answers were delayed. Heaven values that endurance. God sees the maturity that developed quietly while you were simply doing your best to keep going. That maturity is why this phase feels significant. You have been through the fire. You have been through the flood. And you are still standing. That is not an accident. That is a testimony. God preserved you for a reason. And now, He is about to reveal the reason. There are paths ahead that will test discernment rather than strength. In the past, you survived by being strong. You survived by fighting. But in this new season, power will not be required. Clarity will. You will not need to prove anything or convince anyone. You will only need to recognize what aligns with peace and what subtly erodes it. That recognition comes from inner stillness, not external validation. This message is guiding you into that stillness so decisions can be made from wisdom instead of urgency. Expect moments when progress feels slow, even as preparation feels complete. That tension exists because timing is precise. Heaven does not move too early or too late. God aligns outcomes with readiness on multiple levels, not just your own. Other elements must settle into place as well. Perhaps the person you are meant to meet is not ready yet. Perhaps the job you are meant to have is not open yet. Trust that coordination is happening beyond what you can currently see. Remaining grounded allows you to move smoothly when alignment locks into position. When movement begins, you will not feel rushed. You will feel ready. That readiness is the result of presence, patience, and awareness cultivated here. Let this moment continue shaping you quietly. Remain settled within this awareness, because what is being shaped now is subtle strength rather than visible motion. For instance, the strength that lasts is formed in quiet alignment, not sudden force. Heaven has been attentive to how you carry responsibility inwardly, how you process insight without needing immediate confirmation, how you allow wisdom to grow without demanding proof. God recognizes the discipline it takes to stay present when nothing outward is yet demanding your response. That discipline is preparing you for a moment when clarity will require calm action rather than emotional reaction. Soon you may sense a deeper certainty guiding you, one that does not rely on reassurance from others. This certainty will not shout, it will steady you. It will feel like knowing without urgency, direction without pressure. That inner guidance has been developing slowly, protected from interference until you were ready to trust it. Heaven often shields emerging clarity until confidence can support it. God is watching how you begin leaning into that inner knowing instead of external noise. As we move toward the final understanding of this transition, you must prepare for a specific challenge that arises right before the breakthrough. There may be moments ahead when choices appear almost identical on the surface. You will be presented with two paths. One will look logical, safe, and perhaps even expected of you by others. The other will look uncertain, perhaps a bit quiet, but it will carry a specific resonance in your spirit. Logic alone will not be enough to distinguish them. If you rely solely on your pros and cons list, you might choose the path that looks good but leads to stagnation. Perception refined through awareness will matter more than analysis. Here is the secret to discernment in this next season. Pay attention to the weight of the choice. One path will feel light, even if it requires hard work. It will feel expansive, like taking a deep breath of fresh air. The other path will feel heavy, Even if it appears easy or lucrative, it will feel constricting, like a room with no windows. Paying attention to that difference, the heaviness versus the lightness, will protect your peace. As you stand before these two paths, declare your choice for peace and divine alignment. Write, "I choose light," in the comments below. Let this written declaration serve as a reminder to your spirit that you will no longer accept burdens that God never asked you to carry. This sensitivity is not weakness, it is refinement. It is the Holy Spirit speaking to you through the language of burden. Heaven values discernment that prevents unnecessary struggle. God honors decisions made from inner balance rather than impulse. When you choose the light path, you are choosing the path that God has already cleared for you. When you choose the heavy path, you are choosing a path where you will have to fight for every inch of ground because grace is not lubricating the gears. As this alignment deepens, you may find yourself less interested in explaining your journey to others. In the past, you sought validation. You wanted people to understand why you were changing, why you were saying no to things, why you were spending more time alone. But now, silence will feel more comfortable than justification. You will realize that you do not owe anyone an explanation for your growth. The flower does not explain to the weed why it is blooming. It just blooms. This is not withdrawal. It is grounding. It is the preservation of spiritual energy. Growth often brings a desire for privacy, not secrecy, but preservation. You are realizing that your energy is a finite resource, and you can no longer afford to leak it into conversations that go nowhere. Some things strengthen best when they are not exposed too early to the skepticism of others. Heaven understands timing. God watches how you protect what is forming before it is ready to be shared. Expect moments when your patience is tested gently rather than harshly. Small delays may appear, asking you to remain composed instead of frustrated. The traffic jam, the slow internet connection, the friend who cancels last minute. These are not enemies. They are the weights in the spiritual gym. They are asking, can you hold your peace here? Can you stay in the spirit even when the flesh is annoyed? These moments are not obstacles. They are opportunities to practice steadiness. How you handle minor pauses reveals how you will handle major transitions. If you crumble under the weight of a small inconvenience, how will you carry the weight of a major destiny? Remaining calm now reinforces confidence later. Heaven uses simple moments to prepare souls for significant change. You are graduating from the school of affliction to the school of authority. But authority requires self-control. You are moving into a phase where clarity will replace questioning. For a long time, your prayers have been filled with questions. When? Why? How? Soon your prayers will change. They will become declarations. Thank you, I trust, I am ready. That shift in language is a shift in faith. Knowing brings accountability. Understanding invites action aligned with truth. This is why preparation matters so much. God does not reveal direction without also strengthening the ability to walk it wisely. Imagine if God showed you your entire future 10 years ago. You would have been terrified. You would have run the other way. He hid it from you to protect you until you were strong enough to walk toward it. What you are receiving now is balance, not burden. You are strong enough now. Continue allowing awareness to settle deeply rather than skimming across the surface. Commit to going deeper. Subscribe now to signify that you are no longer skimming the surface of your faith. You are aligning yourself with the new season, locking in the wisdom you need to endure. Let insight become integrated rather than just intellectual. It is one thing to quote a scripture. It is another thing to become the living proof of it. What is unfolding will soon require presence more than analysis. Staying grounded now ensures you meet that moment with confidence rather than hesitation. Remain open, attentive, and steady. The foundation being set here will support everything that follows. Stay aligned with this stillness because it is doing more work than constant motion ever could. There are stages where inner order must settle completely before outward change can arrive without chaos. This stage is one of them. You are in the final curing phase of the concrete. Do not walk on it yet. Let it set. Heaven is not withholding progress. It is ensuring that when movement begins, it does not fracture what has been built. God is attentive to how you hold composure when outcomes are not yet visible, because that composure becomes the container for what follows. You are building a container of faith. If the container is small, God can only give you a small blessing. If the container is vast and sturdy, God can pour out a blessing that overflows without breaking you. You may begin noticing that your reactions feel slower, more deliberate, less driven by urgency. This is not loss of passion. It is refinement of control. Strength that lasts is rarely impulsive. Awareness is teaching you how to pause between stimulus and response. And that pause is where wisdom lives. Heaven observes how you use that space. God values decisions made from clarity far more than actions taken to escape discomfort. There will be moments ahead when familiarity tries to pull you backward. Old patterns, old expectations, old comforts may resurface briefly. Their appearance does not mean failure. It means transition is real. When you clean a house, dust flies into the air. It looks messier for a moment before it gets clean. The dust of your past is settling. Do not sneeze and panic. Just let it settle and then sweep it out the door. As alignment strengthens, you may sense a deeper respect for your own boundaries forming. You will become less willing to tolerate imbalance, less inclined to overextend, less tempted to compromise peace for approval. This shift is not selfishness. It is stewardship. Heaven entrusts greater clarity only to those who can protect it. God watches how you guard your inner stability, because stability determines sustainability. Soon, timing will matter more than effort. Doing the right thing at the wrong moment can delay progress just as much as doing nothing at all. This is why patience has been emphasized so strongly. Awareness sharpens timing. When action is required, you will feel a quiet readiness rather than pressure. That readiness will guide you more reliably than urgency ever could. You may also notice that your intuition feels clearer than before, even if you cannot always explain why. That clarity is not guesswork. It is the result of alignment settling into place. Heaven often communicates through calm certainty rather than detailed instruction. God trusts those who can move forward without needing every detail revealed in advance. Nothing that is unfolding now is meant to isolate you or confuse you. It is meant to strengthen discernment so that when circumstances shift, you do not lose balance. Change will come, but it will not arrive to destabilize you. It will arrive to position you more accurately within your purpose. Allow this awareness to continue shaping you quietly. Let it inform how you listen, how you choose, how you respond. What follows will feel less overwhelming because preparation has already done its work. My child, my beloved, we have reached the end of this message, but we are only at the beginning of your new season. The time of watching is transitioning into the time of walking. You have felt the shift. You have acknowledged the signs. You have respected the pause. Now, you must trust the release. God has been observing you not to critique you, but to confirm you. He has seen your struggles, your silent tears, and your persistent hope. He has seen you trying to be better even when no one else was looking. And now, He is ready to move on your behalf. Do not let the enemy steal this seed from your heart. As soon as you leave this video, the world will try to rush back in with its noise, its demands, and its fears. It will try to make you forget the peace you feel right now. Do not let it. Guard this peace. It is your weapon. It is your shield. It is the evidence that God is with you. Remember, the urgency you feel is not fear. It is importance. It is the Holy Spirit letting you know that your life matters, that your choices matter, and that your time is now. You are not an accident. You are not a mistake. You are a divine appointment waiting to happen. The doors that closed were protecting you. The silence that frustrated you was preparing you. The delay that hurt you was strengthening you. Everything has served a purpose, and now the purpose is ready to be revealed. As you go forward from this moment, walk with your head high. Not because of who you are, but because of whose you are. You are a child of the Most High God. You are covered by His grace, guided by His wisdom, and protected by His love. The confusion is clearing. The path is narrowing, but it is also brightening. Trust the inner voice that speaks of peace. Ignore the outer voice that screams of fear. You are ready. You are prepared. You are aligned. If you have received this message, if you feel the truth of it settling in your spirit, I invite you to seal it right now. There is power in agreement. There is power in using your voice to claim your alignment. In the comments below, I want you to write a simple declaration to the heavens. Write, I am ready for what God has prepared. Let that be your signal to the unseen realm that you are no longer hiding, no longer running, and no longer doubting. You are present, you are open, and you are ready to receive. May the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, guard your heart and your mind as you step into this new season. The wait is over. The work has begun. Go in peace and let the light within you shine so brightly that it lights the way for others. Share this video as your final act of service today. Be the vessel that carries this light to someone in darkness, and watch how that generosity unlocks new doors for you. The blessing you pass on is the blessing you keep. God bless you.